Thanks for joining us. I'm JR, a senior journalist with S&P Global Energy's Agriculture and Food Policy team, and I'm joined by my colleague, Richard Morrison. Today, we're discussing the U.S. Farm Bill and its massive policy implications. For those new to it, the Farm Bill is a sweeping law passed roughly every 5 years that funds everything from food safety to rural development to federal food assistance. The last bill expired in 2023, and efforts to pass a new one have been stalled by partisan gridlock. But now some progress was made last year when Congress passed several major Farm Bill components. But as we'll discuss today, the hardest parts are still ahead. So, Richard, to get us started, can you break down what was in the One Big Beautiful Bill, what that actually settled, and what major pieces are still on the table for the bill going forward?
The OBBA legislation, as a lot of folks kind of shorten it to that acronym, it tackled the most politically charged pieces of the Farm Bill. The biggest one of those being SNAP. It enacted roughly $187 billion in federal funding cuts over the next 10 years. And it did so by making some significant changes to how the cost of the program are shared between the federal government and the states. Specifically, what they did was shift more of the administrative cost to the states, and they introduced a new system where states with high payment error rates, that's where they pay benefits in excess or less, even it can be less benefits than someone's entitled to. And states with the highest rate of errors, they'll have to actually cover a portion of the benefit cost themselves for the first time. In the past, the federal government has picked up all of these costs. So this is a major structural change in the program. And, many states are already warning they're not going to be able to absorb all of the additional costs without raising taxes, cutting other spending, or trimming benefits under the program. So nutrition advocates are warning that some states could even exit the program entirely. Now, this could have wide-ranging impacts, not just for SNAP beneficiaries, but also for food retailers. They redeem SNAP benefits to the tune of over $100 billion per year. It's a significant factor in many of their bottom lines. So, in terms of what's left, SNAP was addressed under OBBA. Conservation, most of the conservation programs were addressed. They made changes to the farm safety net. So basically, farmers who enroll in these programs are likely to see larger payments. That helps account for rising input costs and market volatility we've seen in recent years. So in terms of what's left for the bill this year, it's quite a bit. They've still got to reauthorize a number of programs, including agricultural trade promotion, the biggest conservation program, the Conservation Reserve Program, and they've got to address farm lending, which is it's another big factor right now with the farm sector under financial stress. This bill, it expands farm credit. It creates new authority for disaster aid, which has been a big priority for many producers. If you subtract ad hoc, as they call it, disaster aid that's passed each year from farm income over the last 5 years, the farm sector, the picture looks pretty bad. So that's been a really crucial component in recent years, and that'll give them more flexibility, policymakers more flexibility in terms of being able to provide that aid quickly.
I know that we're coming just out of the markup. Yesterday was the House Agriculture Committee markup of this bill. What were some of the big touching points? What's the controversy going forward?
Well, the first and foremost, SNAP. While the cuts are already in law, they were enacted through OBBA. Democrats are fighting hard to delay or modify those cost sharing provisions. If the Republican majority continues to hold the line, they didn't agree to any delay. There were multiple amendments that were offered during the markup to either eliminate or delay the provisions. They all failed. And if that holds going to the House floor, it's going to be more difficult to get sufficient Democratic votes that are needed for passage. Given that the expectation is a handful of Republican defections are likely on that vote, which we've seen in previous farm bills.
And could you tell us how are things going to move forward from here? It'll go to the House floor. What's brewing in the Senate, and where do you sort of see this going?
Well, that kind of brings us to like another sort of friction point during the markup. the pesticide liability provisions. That was a huge issue. It flared up during the committee along with SNAP. The Senate is already signaling when they release the draft their bill, it's unlikely to include these provisions, and it could emerge as a point of contention later if both chambers do pass their individual versions of the bill and go to what's called a conference committee, where they have to work out the changes and then put the resulting measure to a vote in both chambers before sending it to the president. So at this point, we're watching to see, whether it actually is scheduled for time on the House floor. We're debated, and some of the same issues that emerged in committee around the SNAP cuts, around the pesticide liability provisions, and also around there's language in the bill to restrain state animal welfare rules, like California's Proposition 12. That one in particular doesn't really break down evenly along party lines. There are Republicans who favor and oppose, including the language. Same with Democrats. So that's another one. And how, what happens in floor action, whether any amendments are agreed to, could have a big impact on the final vote. And, we've seen in the past, they can be, pretty narrow. In 2018, the first vote on the House Farm Bill actually failed, just very narrowly. It was a similar situation in terms of the narrow margin of the chamber that we see today. So, it's entirely possible that we could see hiccups like that again, and that's something to watch as we head to that next stage.
Well, thank you so much. That's such a great overview, and we're lucky to have you covering this. And if you want to keep reading about the Farm Bill, please check out our content and make sure to read Richard's articles. He's doing a wonderful job keeping us up to date on all this. Thank you so much.